Have you wondered that why the new generation has all of a sudden become so spiritual and why are they so deeply connecting to their roots? My Instagram feed is full of young people from the age group of 20 to 30 who are doing these beautiful spiritual trips to places like Banaras and Ayodhya and are deeply connecting to the spiritual powers. In fact, as a spiritual teacher, when I teach someone of my generation, I'm a millennial born in 1980s. So when I talk to someone from my generation, they always logically ask me, not all, but some, they logically ask me how does this work and how are the things. But when I talk to the next generation, the ones who are born in the 2000s or even late 90s, I see most of them, they are already very aware, very wise. They're aware of their emotions. They know what they are feeling. They know what is that they want from life. They are action takers, decision takers. And the most beautiful thing I saw about them was they really have healthy boundaries. They do not hesitate to speak up. And I felt, wow, what a beautiful generation, which makes me feel that our future is definitely in better hands. So today I'm going to talk a little bit more on how the earth is moving towards a better reality. We have generations which are upcoming, which are facilitating this change, and how this beautiful transition is taking our earth to the next level. We are living in extraordinary times. Humanity is not just evolving socially or technologically, which many of us know that technologically we are evolving, socially we are evolving. It's not just that. We are undergoing what we call as a planetary shift in consciousness. Yes, the consciousness, the collective consciousness of the planet as such, it's shifting. And beautiful teachings of so many spiritual teachers. I will here be sharing a lot about my teacher Dinah Cooper and her teachings about the golden future. But not just Dinah, there are so many wonderful spiritual teachers who are talking about the earth moving from a third dimensional world of fear, separation, and control into a fifth dimensional reality of unity, compassion, and truth. And the most beautiful part, my friends, the future is not arriving alone. It has already started, it has already incarnated. Hi, my name is Dr. Ashwini Chube and namaskar, namaste, welcome to the Unicorns podcast, a sacred space where we explore consciousness, cosmic wisdom, the future of humanity, where we talk about the energy sciences, where we talk about consciousness, where we talk about the power of love, the power of higher emotions. We talk about so much more. And as Ashwini Chube, the founder of Unicorns Insight, which is my brand, and the founder of this podcast, the Unicorns Podcast, today's episode invites you to look at the future and not with fear, because I know there are so many people who are fear mongering a lot right at this time. But we are going to today look at the future with wonder, hope, and deep remembrance, because we are going to talk about how we are moving into the golden future of 2032, the extraordinary souls who are already walking among us, the star children, which may be you, which may be me, and which may be so many more. And there are so many more who are awakening to this reality. So, in today's episode, stay till the end because we're going to talk some really beautiful things about the golden future. The planet is undergoing a transition. You must have read this before. The old Earth, the new Earth is somewhere just opening up to new possibilities. What is happening? And what are we looking at? So, first, let us look at the concept of what we call as the highly incarnated souls. Some people also call them light workers. We also call them star children. So, who are they? Some of the children who are living currently on Earth are already enlightened, and they are often described as the star children. Now, these could be the souls who have lived many lifetimes in other star systems on higher dimensions, right? And why have they chosen to incarnate on Earth today? The only reason they have decided to incarnate on Earth in these times is to assist Earth during this critical transition. Now, they already are aware of a lot of things. So, they come with expanded awareness. They come with heightened sensitivity. They come with deep compassion. And they also come with an unshakable inner knowing, which means they don't come to fit in the old world, but to transform it. Are you someone who has felt that you don't fit in? I've always felt like an outcast in most groups, in most places. I've always felt I don't fit in here. Oh, I don't fit in here. And it's very easy for me to then just disconnect with them because my thinking doesn't connect to them. And on the other hand, I know a lot of people also tell that, they find me very weird. And that's not just with me, I'm sure with a lot of you, it could be because you talk about deep things, you think deep, you do not think surface level, right? Now, today's generation, the young generations, which is right now the youngsters. When I mean youngsters, I'm also talking about the Gen Alpha, the youngest ones, who are now somewhere in school, and who are the younger ones. The Gen Zs, the one who are the youngest of the Gen Zs, are still studying in colleges, and the older ones have started working. So Gen Alpha, Gen Z, and of course my generation, the 1980 born millennials as well. Some of them who are already doing their job as a light worker. So we are going to talk about all of these. So let's first talk about my generation. Let's talk about the Indigo children. Now, Indigo children, most of them were born in the 1980s, right? Now, they arrived on Earth like spiritual warriors because when they arrived on Earth, it was a time where Earth was full of logic. It was completely away from spirituality. If you see the older generation, the generation, one generation um, elder to us, which we often call as Gen X. Now please understand when I talk about generations, I'm talking about most of them, not all of them. So there could be chance you could be from a generation, but you may not relate with what I'm talking. But I'm talking about generally 80 to 90% of the Gen Xers. Now these are the late 60s to 70s born people. Um, they were the ones who were the most disconnected from spirituality, from expansive awareness, as I would say. So they were very practical, very logical, they were living in the status quo, and they beautifully lived in the status quo because at the time when they were growing up, things were very different. And they are still in the matrix form, the matrix form of the world. What is the matrix form? The old kind of world where you believe that things have to be this way, and they really followed the rules. They did their job of following all the rules. One more thing about the previous generation, the Gen X, which is the 1970s born people, 1960s and 1970s born people, they had very rigid belief systems about a lot of things. And that's what they believed that the world was supposed to be. People believed in very rigid form of thinking. The second thing was they often dismissed spirituality as superstition. Now, the word superstition is a very dangerous word because a lot of stuff what people call superstition, it's science, but the proof behind that science was destroyed. Now you do not have the proof behind it, so you only have something which you don't know what's the scientific reason behind that, so you end up calling it superstition. So I think the previous generation, and it's not their fault because that's how they grew up into, and they were very earthly people, which means they were very very much part of the earth civilization. They think like earth beings, they behave like earth beings, they behave like matrix, and they dismissed a lot of spiritual concepts as superstition. But now comes in the next generation, which is the 1980s born. Now, most of the 1980s born, so if you divide 1980s born people, they are clearly into two halves. I can clearly say that there is one half which are the Indigo children, the spiritual warriors, and the other half which is still in the typical matrix thought, matrix process. Now, please understand that we are not saying anyone that anyone is good or bad, or any category is superior or inferior. So don't take me wrong. The only thing which I want to say here is it's just that there are two different kinds of people. So in the 1980s born, there were some people who arrived who were the spiritual warriors. There are chances if you are watching this podcast till now, you were one of them. Because if you were not them, I'm sure you would have just stopped watching this and you would have said, what rubbish is this? I'm not going to listen to it. But if you're still listening to it, I would say that you are most probably the spiritual warriors if you're born in the 1980s. And say early 1990s. These beings were highly intelligent and perceptive. They are also very sensitive. You know how many times were you mocked by someone for being sensitive? I spent most of my teenage and most of my even early adult life being surrounded by people who would mock and make fun of my sensitivity. And I received many words like fattu, darpok, all of these words, which actually are derogatory words for being someone who is always scared, who has no, who doesn't have any courage. Because in terms of earthly matters, we are not like everyone else, right? We are very sensitive. A lot of negativity, we don't consider it normal. So I remember a lot of people telling me that, you should start taking life with a pinch of salt. When people would bully me and make fun of me and say, "Arey chalta hai, masti hai," I would not like it. I still don't like it if anyone makes fun of me or if anyone makes fun of anyone else. But at that time, it was considered cool, right? So I know that a lot of indigos, just like me, do not like to be made fun of, right? Um, Also, a lot of indigos. Okay, again, we are talking about the people who are born in the 1980s. Slowly, as they started growing up, they started questioning and challenging authority. They started asking, why is this supposed to be done? And they created, I, I call this as some kind of um, turbulence in the system because they decided to break those. I know there are so many of millennials, they quit their jobs and started something of their own. If you are someone, I congratulate you. It takes courage, right? I also know so many people of the indigo generation, millennial generation, which stopped tolerating abuse. Okay, whether it is in relationships, whether it is at workplace, they started actually not tolerating and standing up against abuse. I know so many people who walked out of toxic relationships because they did not want to tolerate abuse. Also, a lot of the indigo children, they talk about intolerance towards lies, towards corruption, and towards false structures. We started questioning. Right now, Indigos came with a mission to break down outdated systems, which included political, educational, medical, and social, that no longer serve any humanity. And we have also seen that in many places. We see that in the last 10 to 15 years, since the 2012. So I'm also going to talk about 2012 was the time where there was this huge explosion of light in this universe and a lot of things started changing post that. So I think after 2012, a lot of corrupt systems broke and a lot of new systems started coming up. And I'm talking about the world as such. And, in many places, people started questioning authority. Now, right now, the indigos are young to middle aged adults. Okay. Many of them are in leadership positions. They are activists, there are innovators, there are truth speakers. Many of us are spiritual teachers and light workers, and we are doing our bit to make this world into a better place. So, between 2012 to 2032, the Indigos have played a crucial role in clearing the old wounds, breaking the old structures, even when the role felt was difficult. I remember when I quit my job and when I was starting my work as a spiritual teacher, I would meet, people who were like people from the same community, people from the same, neighbors and people, and who would just come to me and they would say things like, "Oh, you're unemployed. You don't work. You don't do anything. Oh my God, what a shame." I have heard those comments when I was building up Unicorn Insight. Today, I know many of them look at me with a lot of respect. Some of them do, some of them still don't. And of course, it's always going, some people will always have that thing towards you. So it's our job to understand that everyone has a different way of looking at the world. But I believe that it was very difficult for many of us who are building startups, who are building new structures which did not exist before. It was very difficult for us. And Indigos, they started doing this. They kind of triggered the first wave of ascension on Earth, which I'm talking about practical stuff. And if you see today in 2026, religious and spiritual podcasts are not new. It's very common. But when I started 15 years ago and when I spoke about being a spiritual teacher, people would ask me, "Wo kya hota hai?" Or when I talk about being a healer, people would, make fun of me saying, "Oh, does it exist?" I still hear a lot of people making fun of spiritual concepts like Reiki and, but I always believe that every person, when they make fun of something, it's also because they have no knowledge of it. And once they start awakening, they will understand what does it mean to be awakening and what does it mean to have this open outlook towards the world. So the millennial generation, the indigos, have triggered this wave of ascension. And slowly the next generation is coming up, which is what they call as the crystal children. Now, the crystal children, most of them were born after 1990s, 1995, till as much as 2010. Now, these are what we call as the Gen Zs, right? You must have heard people making fun of Gen Zs that they don't work properly and they don't. But the only reason I feel I have a lot of respect for Gen Z because I feel they have broken the old structure. They have broken the bureaucracy. They are the ones who are actually taking steps. They are having healthy boundaries. They will not just stay in office at till 10 o'clock because the boss did not do his work on time, right? And I know this may trigger a lot of people, and I have often heard about it, that how they don't work and how they don't do things and how they take life. But the truth is they have healthy boundaries. They question authority, they stand up against authority, they are not afraid to stand up against authority, they are not going to unnecessary people please, which is fabulous. They are pure and gentle, loving beings. They are highly sensitive to emotions. So when people make fun of them saying that, oh, they are always depressed and they are always, anxious, the reason is the system. It's a failure of the system. It is not their failure. They are doing their job well because they're highly sensitive to emotions, sounds, and environments, and they are naturally telepathic and heart centered. So they believe in causes. For example, they are gentler and kinder towards animals, is what I have seen with Gen Z, and it's beautiful. They are they believe in their connection to God is in a very different way. They do not believe in a God fearing world which was created. They are very God loving, and they are always I've always seen that they treat God like their friend. So understand that these children, the crystal children, they are not here to fight, but they are here to anchor harmony, unity, and peace. Okay. So as we move beyond 2032, because I will be also talking about 2032, Christian children will be at a perfect age to, they will be leading the communities, they will be leaders by then. They will create healing systems. They will restore trust and cooperation, and they will hold a frequency of fifth dimensional earth, where they teach us that softness is not weakness and it is strength refined by love. It's so beautiful to see that changes like this are happening. Finally, we talk about the rainbow children. Now, these are the children born after 2010. So, if you are my generation and if you are a parent, most of our generation children are born between 2010 to 2024, 2024, 25. Some of them are, I can even say some children, the next generation, beta generation is coming after that. But the rainbow children are generally the generation alpha. Now they are very extraordinary because they have never been on Earth before. Yeah. They come from the star systems, which means they do not carry karmic baggage. They are not here to dispel karmic baggage. Okay. They live entirely from the heart. They're completely heart centric. You often find them as affectionate, joyful. They're highly forgiving. They're naturally magical, intuitive, and creative. They unconditionally love. You may sometimes feel that, oh, my 5-year-old child had so much empathy. That's what so many people tell me, that, my son is just 10 or 11-year-old, but I had a fight with my partner or someone in the family, and my child came to me and hugged me and said, Mama, it's okay. People are sometimes cruel. I've heard this from so many clients of mine. And isn't that beautiful? So they are usually born either to the indigo parents, or you can even say some older crystal parents, and they are providing the gentle, peaceful environment for the souls to thrive. So when rainbow children, by the time they reach adulthood, they will carry the world forward. They will prepare the humanity for a full ascension and live as embodiment of divine love. They are not here to heal trauma. So our generation, millennials, the indigos, we were here to start healing the trauma. The next generation started actively working on the trauma and diffusing it. And the rainbow children, they are not here to heal trauma, because by the time trauma will be healed from the world, they are here to model a new reality of being human. Now, why does this all matter, and why is this so interesting? So, I've been doing a lot of observation and study with these groups, and I often observe my nieces, nephews, the way they think, where, they are kinder, they are gentler towards animals, they are more aware of things, they are also aware of the environment and the kind of impact I'm creating. Now, some of you may even say, oh, I have a nephew who is really not this and who is not that. Maybe there are very few section of children who have still not found their calling, and that's the reason you may find that they are not good. But if you are someone who is holding on to the status quo, who is trying to hold on to the systems that aisa hi hona chahiye, and if they are questioning, you may be triggered by them. So the problem is not them, the problem is you if you are watching this. But why does this matter in the golden future? Because spiritually 2032 marks an end of a major transition cycle. Okay, completion of a cycle where old system based on fear, on practicality, on control, on limiting beliefs is going to control, and is going to lose power as conscious leadership will slowly start emerging. So by 2032 it will complete. Conscious leadership has already started. You must have seen how people have started reframing their businesses, right? We are seeing more gentle and conscious entrepreneurs. We are seeing more gentler and conscious leaders who are taking step towards the right direction, where cooperation will slowly, gradually replace competition, where technology will gradually align with ethics and ecology, and spiritual awareness will become normal. Okay. So the indigo generation has cleared the path. The crystal generation is stabilizing the new frequency, and the rainbow generation is carrying it forward. So this is not fantasy, or this is not some fairy tale which I'm talking about. This is conscious evolution. So today, if you're watching this and if you are a parent, if you are a spiritual seeker, if you are a light worker, I would say that, do your bit to make this world a better place. If you're still watching it, believe in truth. Do not give in to fear. Do not give in to lower thought forms. If you're a parent, if you're raising a child today, know that don't try to fix your child. Don't try to discipline them. They need to be understood. They need safety, truth, and love. So don't go with the punishment and all that approach. I know you were punished by your parents, but that was because that generation was not really conscious about it. Don't pass on your wounds to the next generation. Star children struggle in the rigid systems. I did really struggle in the rigid systems. I really felt I did not fit in any of the systems, and because I came from a family where, everyone was good at academics. My parents put me in the best schools, best college. I did decently well, but I never really fitted in those things, whether it was academics, whether it was corporates, whether it is a traditional structure of relationships and marriage. I never fit into any of these. I always say that. And that's because I know I am an indigo child. And I know there are so many of my generation people who are indigo children who are questioning that. But your role as a parent is to not discipline them or to shape them. It is to protect their light and make sure you give them the right connection. You give them the right upbringing. And it's very beautiful to put yourself out there and talk about how to, help other parents to do that. One of my friends, she's coming up with a very beautiful concept called New Earth School, where she's actually helping children to grow in a better way. So you can definitely, if you are interested, you can definitely get in touch with me for it. And I can always refer you. If you are someone who believes that you want to change your life because you feel you are very sensitive, you may feel that you may already be an indigo child, and so now we don't use the word child because we all are middle aged now. But if you feel that you were born in the 1980s or 1990s and you always felt left out and you always felt you had a very difficult life, I would advise you at this point of time to find in those capacities within you where through which you can heal yourself and you can share this light with the world. We have a beautiful healers community, especially for women, where we help women understand that their sensitivity is their power, not their weakness. So you can get in touch with me if you would like to be a part of the healer circle. On a closing note, all I want to say is the golden future is not waiting at us at a distance. It's already here. It's already happening in classrooms, in living rooms, on playgrounds, in quite sensitive hearts. Old structures are breaking, new one are beginning. People are choosing conscious partnership. People are choosing conscious love. Yes, there is a section of people who are going into the darker parts of the things, and there are many dark things which are happening, but that is because they are making those choices. But if you choose light, you will be guided towards light. So don't worry, don't fear. Keep choosing more light. And for any guidance, for any understanding, you can always connect to us at inbox.unicorninsight@gmail.com. This is Dr. Ashwini Chube from Unicorn Insight. And I had so much fun connecting to each and every one of you in today's magical podcast. Do share your thoughts, process, comments, anything which you would want to on this. And if you have any topics which you want to know more on, do write to us on our email. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And I'm here sending you so much light, love, and possibilities. Thank you.